Hi, I'm Danny Lipford.
And I'm Chelsea Lipford-Wolf.
Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a like and a comment.
And be sure to share with a friend, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified of new videos.
Thanks and enjoy the show. A few days ago, this was a functioning kitchen.
This year marks our 20th season on the air. So to celebrate, we're taking a look back at some of our kitchen renovations from decades past.
What do you think so far?
Unbelievable.
This big pile of rubble is going to be a beautiful kitchen and a nice large breakfast room, all within the next half hour. This is our 20th season on national television, and we're having a little fun looking back on some of our past projects.
And kitchen projects are always so popular, and so I think that's a great place to focus. And Dad, you've certainly shown us quite a few kitchens over the years.
Oh yeah. Wait until you see the transformation that'll take place in this week's show. A few days ago, this was a functioning kitchen. So this week, we're looking back at several kitchens. Many kitchens need a facelift. Wait till you see what we do to this one. Well, this week, we'll show you a kitchen renovation from start to finish. Now, I'm standing in a kitchen that obviously needs a little updating. This place is a mess, but it's going to be a beautiful kitchen before the end of the show.
Dad, how do you get that excited about every single kitchen you've ever remodeled?
I love kitchen remodeling because after it's over with, the family's so happy.
And those gourmet meals, huh?
The gourmet meals, yeah. Now, you may be going for that gourmet kitchen. That makes preparing those gourmet meals a little easier. Won't be long you'll be in here whipping up those gourmet meals. Are you really heading towards that gourmet level? Maybe they'll invite me over for dinner. Boy, looking at all of these clips, you can really see how kitchen trends have changed quite a bit over the years.
Yeah, that's not the only thing that's changed, Dad. Your clothes, your hair was a different color. It's
I had
still
some
the same
ugly hair
cut,
back then, I'll tell you, that ugly
it
dark hair.
does look nice now.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well.
But your pants were baggy, and
That's
your
the way it
shirts
was.
were always tucked in.
That was what you wore back then. Well, now you looked a little different back then too in 1998.
Yeah, I don't even know how old was I.
I have pictures.
Yeah.
You know, it's really funny about all of the kitchen trends over the years. For so many years, everybody had those dark cabinets. Now, of course, there's a strong trend nowadays to get away from some of the painted cabinets and go back to the stained cabinets and the natural finish. And they wanted it to be lighter and brighter, so we sanded and we primed and we painted and put new hardware on to kind of brighten things up.
It's amazing what a coat of paint can do for something as broad as kitchen cabinet.
Oh yeah, well I tell you what, that's some of our most popular kitchens where we have a really kind of a budget facelift.
Right.
You know, we've done some of those for less than $1,000, and to be able to rebuild the doors, put new hardware on, repaint them, do some things to the cabinets, that's pretty cool when you can make that much of a difference for less than $1,000.
Yeah.
And a little bit of elbow grease.
Right.
Didn't it seem like at some point everybody opened the same magazine or something and decided to go back to stain? With cabinets stained this dark, you have to make sure you have plenty of lights in the room, or it could end up kind of gloomy in your kitchen.
Well, now it's come full circle and we're back to painted cabinets again as being the it thing to do. But
Or painting one section and staining the other,
Yeah.
so it's just all over the place.
The wall colors too were so dark and dungeony with the maroon and dark
The
green.
forest green.
Yeah.
One thing that's been consistent throughout the whole thing is people want to feel like there's more space.
Right,
So
absolutely.
removing that wall between the kitchen and the adjacent area, usually a breakfast room,
Right.
we've torn down a lot more walls than we've ever built, you know. We'll remove this whole section of wall.
In addition to tearing down plenty of walls, we've also taken out lots of fur downs. You remember those, right?
That little worthless box that goes
Right.
around the top of the
Well,
ceiling
not
area.
all of them are worthless. Some of them serve a purpose.
Yeah, every now
right?
and then we open them up and we find some wires or
Yeah.
some pipes. But in this case, on this side of the kitchen, we actually cut the holes and found heating and cooling ductwork.
So does removing all of those fur downs make you nervous?
Well, you never know what's inside it. I was always hoping I could find like gold bricks or some old money or something, but that never happened. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Do we need to put it all back?
Empty space.
I would not stick my head up in that fur down like Dad did. That freaks me out. What if there's a critter in there and it attacked his face? Like, That's my worst fear.
For the most part, there's usually nothing there at all, and in some cases, we've even removed the fur down, and the ceiling has had either texture or have a consistent finish all the way in, where all we have to do is patch a couple of holes. Well, I'll tell you what, the luck continues here because we only have just a small amount of damage where the old fur down came down.
Talk about gold bricks.
Well,
That's
maybe that happened once.
once, oh man.
Next on the list is removing that valance over the sink.
What a positive effect we always have in cutting that valance out, which is
Yeah.
usually nothing more than just nipping a few nails
Right.
off and then allowing that ceiling to continue, because anytime you're in a kitchen like that and you see the ceiling being able to continue
Even
like
in that little area.
it just makes it look a lot bigger. It makes it, feel a lot better when you're at the kitchen sink.
I guess they just added that to like tie the cabinets in together.
Just a little decorative element
Yeah.
that somebody came up with.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Valance, probably.
Yeah, Mr. Valance, that's what it is.
I'm gonna name this after myself.
Did you know that 85% of homes have hard water? And that's an issue because hard water has elevated mineral content, and those minerals can clog water-using appliances, including faucets, dishwashers, clothes washers, even water heaters. So if you suspect you have hard water, here's a simple test you can do right at home. Start by taking about a half a cup of water and put in some liquid detergent. You only need maybe 5 or 6 drops. And then put the top on and shake it. You want to shake it for at least 20 or 30 seconds. Okay, there you go. I can tell you immediately this water is not hard. And I can tell because there's so much foam in here. If this water was hard, what you'd find you'd have very little foam on the top and the water would be really cloudy. So if you discover you have hard water, take it to a lab and have it tested.
This week, we're looking back at 20 years of kitchen renovations here on Today's Homeowner. And many of these projects allow us to update some pretty interesting color choices.
Turquoise is not my color. We've really never cared for this color.
This must have been real popular years ago. Butcher block countertops, remember that?
Looking back, I'm not really sure about some of the styles we replaced them with either.
Now it really looks like a modern kitchen. Now this is a simulated marble with a verdi-green color. And then on this one, you're able to put one color on top, one color here, and then have a nice bold color as the perimeter accent around the countertop.
I'm so glad those countertop choices are not around anymore. That was crazy.
Well, but you know what happens is we have homeowners, they'll say, I want a countertop that nobody else has.
Well, here you go.
Well, there's a reason that nobody else has it, is because a lot of times it's really not very
It's
attractive.
just funky. Well, even though those choices are hard to make, Dad, you've done great over the past 20 years in helping homeowners make those decisions.
And that's what we've done all these years with every aspect of remodeling and home improvement, is to show that, what the price difference is, the advantages along the way. Usually that helps the homeowner make those decisions a lot easier.
Yeah.
Instead of selecting from a little small sample like this, you're actually able to see the full sheet to really know exactly what it'll look like when it's in your home.
They've also made plastic laminate a lot more durable, but it still won't take the heat and the abuse that granite countertops will take. Cost on a kitchen like this in plastic laminate would be a little bit less than $1,000 for the materials and labor. Now the solid surface material they chose is going to run a little over $3,000 for this same kitchen. Well, they tell me there's a seam right here, but you certainly can't tell it. That's one of the big advantages of using a solid surface type of countertop like we've used here.
You know, a lot of homeowners think that granite's a lot more expensive than other countertops, but it's really not the case, is it?
That's exactly right. We find that a lot of people perceive that, but that's not correct. We find that the granite is very comparable to the same price as solid surface, in many cases less than solid surface.
You know, another thing that happens so often is a trend will come along and everybody wants to know about concrete countertops. So it was everywhere. Everybody wanted concrete countertops,
Right.
but nobody knew really how to do them very well.
Right.
So the results were not that good. Now, another thing we're hearing a lot about, concrete countertops. And I think a lot of homeowners maybe think this is a great do-it-yourself project. But after talking to concrete countertop specialist Jock Corey, we realized it's a lot more involved than most people think.
Well, concrete countertops can be fun when they're poured. And you can do inlays, you can do edges, different types of edges, but they can also be difficult.
So it kind of faded away for a few years. Then it comes back after everybody figures it out and a few people are experts in the field.
Right.
And then, we did my outdoor kitchen
Right.
with the concrete countertops.
Yeah.
That's one of those, re-emerging trends that pops up, doesn't work out so well, goes away, and then comes back for a
I think
while.
you're the trendsetter.
You know, another thing I've always really enjoyed is sharing with homeowners some of these little tricks of the trade. You know, different things that you're able to introduce that they would never think about,
Right.
that can make a lot of these projects have those professional results and make it easier to do the whole project.
Well, the things that carpenters use every day
Right.
can be used by homeowners as well.
Exactly, and they immediately realize why it makes it easier.
And a good trick that cabinet installers use are the little padded prop sticks to hold the weight of the cabinets while you install all of your screws. So what we want to do is just align these up real good and straight, coming up and down here, as well as use the level to make sure that it's good and level from side to side, as well as from front to back.
Now, by establishing the new height of the wall from the cabinet that will support the bar and cutting the drywall at that point, we're saving on finish work later and again reducing some of the dust. You know, people talk about remodeling being so frustrating. Well, when you're remodeling a kitchen, a homeowner gets very frustrated with making all of those decisions. There's probably 500 decisions they have to make, between little minor things to major things that they're going to be seeing every day for years and years and years. That's where the pressure comes in.
Well, and the project goes so much smoother if they can make as many of those decisions up front and not change them as the process goes on.
Well, I've done hundreds and hundreds of kitchens over the years. Only one did someone come to me with a binder and said, here's our selections. And I went, yeah, right. Yeah, this won't change. Never changed. The whole thing, and we finished it right on time, and that's an exception to the rule, but it is so important to take the time.
And that's regardless of whether you're doing it yourself or you're having a contractor do it.
Exactly. But the best thing you can do if you want to be involved in it is to make those decisions and make them well ahead of time, not the morning of the day that it's needed.
I tell you what, I love the tile aisle. I love seeing all of the new different patterns and all the neat things that you can do to decorate your home with tile. But what if you're looking for that retro, very classic look for your home? I did that a couple of years ago. I went online and you know, retro looking tiles are quite expensive. But take a look at this line that I found. This is a Marola tile. And look, this is called their 20s Classic. And it definitely has that retro, very vintage feel. Now these tiles are ceramic tiles, but they have a matte finish. So it does look like that kind of dated vintage look. These tiles also can be used both indoors and out. You can put them on the floor, you can put them on the wall, you can use them as accent. They are perfect. But the one thing I love the best is that they're affordable.
You know, I'm sure many of you have an older, out-of-date kitchen like this one.
We're revisiting 20 years of kitchen renovations on today's homeowner, and in that time, we've seen more than a few trends.
Well, Dad, trends come and go, but
Well, there's a lot of things that stay around. Some of them do come and go, and they should. But others are a little more timeless. I'll tell you one thing, you know, the open floor plan.
You know, one of the most common requests I hear from homeowners these days is how they want to remove the wall between their kitchen and their family room to create a nice wide open area. We'll be removing this wall to create this large opening from the new kitchen into what will be used as a den. Now that's kind of a modern trend being introduced into this older home.
Well, I won't feel as isolated in the kitchen, and this will be facing the family room out here. I can see the kids sitting up here on the raised bar area doing their homework.
You can also keep an eye on Joe and Sarah when they're doing that homework. So to remove these walls, we really had to look carefully at what was in the ceiling to see if it would support this span that we've created.
Along with that is removing those overhead cabinets that separate, you know, a cooking space from a living area. That's always been there.
One of the main complaints I hear from homeowners that have overhead cabinets like this between their kitchen and their breakfast room is they feel trapped in here as they're cooking. Now, one of the more significant changes we'll be making is the removal of this entire barrier that's between the kitchen and the adjacent family room. Now, back when this house was built, it was probably considered kind of an open floor plan with this opening and kind of an opening here looking out into the den.
Well, and creating the open floor plan creates problems with the work triangle between the fridge and the sink and the stove, and trying to keep that efficient even though your space is so much bigger.
Everybody loves the big, large kitchens, but a little more of a challenge for you to work everything out.
It really is. You've got to be careful of getting your work triangle too big.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that because some people will get everything spread out a little bit too much if they have the extra space, and then it makes it a less functional kitchen.
It's really set up very well in here.
I concentrated on where the different things would be located to allow me to cook.
The layout will create a fairly compact work triangle between the cooktop, refrigerator, and sink.
You know, the very best thing that I can do when I'm working with a homeowner is make them comfortable about some of the decisions and the direction the project's going. So you're having to do a lot of things to help them visualize.
Then you see the cabinet line here, and actually this will be an area for the refrigerator right in the corner.
Cardboard to show where the island will go.
This really shows very clearly what the island's going to look like in your kitchen.
Now you can see the footprint that we've laid out with this paper template.
Okay, Dad, as much as you've mentioned cabinet accessories like rollouts, tilt-outs, and appliance garages, I think you are solely responsible for making those mainstream.
The little rollout tray. It's the little rollout trays like this with the rollout tray, and more rollout trays. You have little tilt-out trays here, a little tilt-out tray in front of the sink, the appliance garage, the appliance garage, and appliance garage. The appliance garage, and also in the corner, it's good to have an appliance garage.
Well, I love the accessories because you're utilizing every bit of the space as much as possible. But also, if you really accessorize a kitchen the right way, it maybe becomes yours a little bit more.
Yeah, a little personalized.
More personalized. Whether it's that elaborate type of mixing thing that you pull out, the mixing stand, which is pretty elaborate and kind of tricky to install, right to the tilt-outs in front of the sink, utilizing a space that's not being utilized.
It's normally dead space.
Now you're converting it, and the pull-out trays anywhere are great, but underneath the kitchen sink to be able to access the.
You're still singing their praises.
I just love these things. Love all this stuff. I have had an opportunity to work with some of the best homeowners around that really get involved in the project. They get enthusiastic and as excited as I do.
I'm ecstatic, more than ecstatic. The words can't even describe.
I love it.
It's still working out good.
That almost everybody who comes into this kitchen comments on is they say, oh, well, that's a neat idea.
Why did it take so long? Why did it take so long to do the kitchen?
What a setup.
Well,
Safety goggles I got for it.
That'll look good. All right.
Wow. I'm gonna make me cry on TV.
Oh yeah, we're counting on it.
Oh my God. Y'all do not know what a big deal this is for me, so thank you.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
I was definitely skeptical, but this is amazing, amazing.
Some maybe a little more patient than others.
It's been a while for them to create the backsplash that we had chosen, but we're being patient on that, and I know it'll come in soon.
When it's done, it'll be done, and then I'll be happy.
But when it's all said and done, to see them in on the gratification that comes along with it, that's really a great process.
It's still the same way today with all the homeowners that we work with, even more intimately doing projects side by side.
You know, it seems like as the show has evolved over the years and really doing smaller projects, more manageable projects, then having the homeowners there, getting their hands dirty, asking the questions that are, you know, natural, that come out naturally, that's where a great learning process for everybody.
As if squeezing 20 years of kitchens into 30 minutes wasn't enough, we know many of you are also eager to see how these projects turned out. So here are just a few of the before and after shots from the dozens and dozens of kitchen projects we've completed over the years.
Well, I'm tired just looking at all the kitchens that we've done over the past 20 years. It's crazy how many, but you must love it.
Well, I do love it. People ask me all the time about what are some of my favorite remodeling projects, kitchens. it's pretty much at the top of the list because it's such a great before and after picture.
Yeah, that's
and the
true.
homeowners appreciate the work so much. And it being the center of family life makes it even more important. And I hope you enjoyed kind of looking back over the 20 years of kitchens that we've remodeled. And even though we covered a lot of funny things and some trends that I hope never come back, we still covered a lot of things that you can use at your house right now. Hey, thanks so much for being with us. I'm Danny Lipford.
And I'm Chelsea Lipford Wolf.
And thanks so much for being with us here on Today's Homeowner. We'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to comment, like, and hit the bell icon so that we can notify you when new videos are posted.
And don't go anywhere, click around and continue the home improving fun.